Alright, we are recording for the introduction to Buttercup's Baby, and I did not enjoy reading it. I really didn't. There were definitely points in where I was like, can I just stop reading this and like go to the actual story? Um, yeah. I mean, to be fair though, I kind of was feeling that way from the introductions to the main story, and then the story itself was quite good, but um, okay, so a few things happen in it. Well, yeah, let me say this first. I described in, I think, definitely the 30th anniversary introduction, not so much the 25th, a certain meandering quality. But the thing is, good meandering, there is a thread. It just is going different ways, but there's still, you can see the trail. This felt more like bouncing. Partly because there were also moments when it seemed like, wait, didn't you just say something the page prior that contradicts what you're saying now? I mean, it just, yeah, it felt like that. There was just bouncing around. And also some of it was just like, why are you doing this? I'll get to that. So the premise to it is trying to explain why he only has the one chapter written, and that it's got to do with legal dealings with the Morgenstern estate, born largely from him wanting to write the Union scene. And they were like, no, you cannot make any changes. It's like, well, technically he didn't. I mean, it just basically nonsense, okay, for the explanation, which in some ways the nonsense can be fun, but it's like, okay, even I understand some of this well enough to know this is not how that works. And especially at one point, because he was like, he wrote in there that the Morgenstern lawyer, who has a terrible name, what was it, Kermit Shog? There's like three of them, I don't quite remember, but in any case, had told them that the copyright on the original Morgenstern was coming in '78. It's like, oh, good. Once that hits, we'll be fine. Now we can do whatever we want. But then it's like, oh no, because the Florinese are bad at numbers. He actually meant '87. It's like, wait, no, this is a lawyer. You don't screw that up. Period. Like that is very much like when you have the list of qualifications to be a lawyer, you don't screw something up like that. And if you have a hard time with numbers, it would be okay, you're triple checking to make sure you have it right. I mean, it's like, you cannot screw that up. Because, I mean, just imagine that situation, okay? Of you tell somebody this expires in this year, but you screwed up, so it's now something else. And if somebody does something, not trying to verify themselves, because you are supposed to be the authoritative source, they do something and then it's like, oh, that was wrong here. This, if you can argue successfully that they told you the wrong thing, guess what? You're probably you might actually be in the clear. I could understand something like that. You wrote something that was like, oh, wait, no, you violated the copyright. It might be you need to take that down, but we can't do anything to punish you because we told you you were fine. And that actually has happened. There have been cases like that, including criminal ones. Oh, wait, no, that was a civil case, wasn't it? Where a lawyer told somebody, you were fine, you will not be prosecuted for doing this. They end up getting prosecuted, it gets thrown out. Because, no, you were told this, and that person makes that decision. So it's, sorry, a little bit of an aside, but see that it connects. Whereas the bouncing doesn't want to feel that way. Anyway, it's making those claims. Then he's having a great time with his grandson, which is only exists within the book. Or at least this specific grandson. Because remember, he was actually, I'm trying to remember. His actual wife was a photographer, and they had two daughters. In the story, he's describing a wife that's a child psychologist, really bad one, in my opinion, from what it's described, and a son named Jason. This is Jason's son. And Goldman describes it as, yeah, I love this kid, we'll give him everything he wants. The kid has been read The Princess Bride. He loves it except for the end, and by that they mean the ending, the fact that it does end. But he knows he can't actually do this for these nonsense legal reasons. I'm adding nonsense, it's just what he's claiming, legal reasons. Kind of explodes at the kid. And then decides to reach out to his lawyer to see if can we work something out now. And he was like, oh, well, they actually just reached out to me about this, about trying to settle it. Basically saying, and with settling it being all the lawsuits are dropped, but he also says that they did nothing wrong in trying to sue him. Which, when you think about it, is kind of nonsense because of how much he would have been paying for those 13 lawsuits that they're now dropped. Anyhow, basically, just call peace, let it all end. And he also has an offer for. They have a new lawyer who, I think it's supposed to be a grandchild of this original Shog, who is going to come. He's actually moving to America because Morgenstern State wants to have a legal representative in America, so she is moving there. And he describes her as being absolutely beautiful, and that just the way she introduces herself, is carrying herself, is like he's thinking, oh, she wants me, and even clarifies not just in want, but like desire. That's why it's like, oh god, because I'm also getting flashbacks to whichever introduction it was. I think may have been the actual book introduction. Let me just see if I can quickly check on that. Okay. I think I'm in the right. Okay, let me just confirm then that I. Yeah. So in the introduction to the book, he also is like, he's in Hollywood, his family is in New York, and a starlet is coming up and batting the eyes and all that. Technically, it's to try to get a part in the movie, but it still is. He's got this beautiful woman that's interested in him, and now he's doing it again. It's like, come on. Do you have to? And even he goes so far as to, because she's moved from Florin because she's Florinese, which it's all made up, but moved from there and had to break up with her boyfriend, who was also appreciably older than her, so she's okay with old men. It's like, oh god. There's commitment to the bit, to the gimmick, and then there's exaggerating it. And I'm sorry, this really feels like you're just really hitting the exaggeration because let's have some fun here. It's like, I understand the idea of having fun, but dude, you gotta keep it under control, all right? I mean, there have been times in my own books where I want to do things because it would be kind of fun to do that, or just there's a specific reason, but it's like, you know what? It isn't right. Cut that shit out. Don't do it. Do what is right for the story and keep with that. And this introduction feels nothing like that. Nothing like it was cut back. Because it keeps going. And it's to the point I wonder if the next thing that I'm going to get to is even possible. I mean, obviously, part of it is a lie because of how it relates to this stuff. But I do legitimately wonder if it is just completely made up. Because he goes, it shouldn't be, though, because he could get in trouble for that anyway. So she wants to settle the piece, and she also wants to see the sequel written. But not by him. And he's like, what? It's like, no, we're going to get Stephen King to do it. He's really interested in doing it. It's like, and then it goes on to explain how he actually knows Stephen King because he's written some of the screenplays, well, at least one screenplay for one of the novels. And it's like, this is one of those, I'm starting to wonder if he even knows Stephen King. But it is like, you know what? Probably does, because name dropping Stephen King like this in more than one of these introductions. Mentioned here, mentioned another one as well. Yeah, Stephen King is a public figure. Technically, there are certain protections he does not have for that reason. But it's also I think that some of this, no, you're going too far with this. You're making me straight up a character and claiming these things happen in your false reality, but still reality. So I guess they had to actually know each other, but it still is just... King is then like, oh no, because it's also like the moment she was like, oh, we want King to do it, then immediately Goldman's opinion of her changes. She's a horrible human being, absolutely ugly, all that. And it's like, dude, seriously. And King's like, oh no, she lied to me. She was saying that you weren't interested, and that I was being pressured into doing it. But then later, and this is one of those holes you're bouncing, and this is inconsistent because it's like a page or two later, where King is saying that is criticizing him that, wait, you never went to Florin? I mean, it's like some of this stuff in here. I'm saying, why did you cut out some of what you cut out? It's actually really important. It's really awesome. Didn't you go to Florin? Weren't you impressed by all this? It's like, he's basically saying that, well, I want to do it because I'll do it right. It's like, wait a minute, you just said the only reason you were willing to do it is because you were being pressured by your family. The lawyers were pressuring them to pressure him. And only because you thought Goldman wasn't interested. And now it's well, no, I want to do it because I'll do a better job than you, because I actually know this stuff. I care about this stuff. It's like, make up your mind. I mean, it's like the whole tangled web we weave when first we practice to deceive thing here. But it's like, you're completely making this up. It's not like you're telling somebody a lie who's involved in it. You're just writing it. So, I mean, it feels like you've just taken the joke, taking the gimmick, and exaggerated it to such a degree that it is ridiculous and absurd, and I can't appreciate it, and it's just boring me. And that's, I wanted out. I wanted to just stop and move forward, but it's like, no, I can't do that, because that's not how I want to choose it, how I want to read a book. Full stop. Not how I want to read a book. And also, I want to be able to do this video honestly. But I'm really with the whole not wanting to read a book that way. If I were to get to this point where it's like I am just bored, I would just stop reading entirely. But it's like, no, I do want to get to actually reading the Buttercup's baby first chapter. I do actually want to read that. And it says that King told him that, well, you can, because, you know, it's like he doesn't trust him. It's like, you can do the first chapter and then we'll see how it goes. And don't worry, I can handle the Morgenstern lawyers. I just, at least the story, I also don't care much for the ending. As I said in the previous video, the movie's ending, I think, is quite good. It properly resolves things. This one just ends with various things. I'm saying, all the setup is in the story, in the book. For the setups for the movie's ending are all in the book. So the movie ending is completely acceptable if you just pasted it in here. And it's legitimately, you would not need to change a damn thing. Right? That's how it is. But then instead, it's like, hey, yeah, they just live happily ever after, and then it's, well, no, this was actually what was written. That leaves it kind of up in the air, but it's also kind of silly and stupid. And it's just, I almost wonder. I'm just looking at the reading guide suggested questions. No, that shouldn't be. Yeah, I was just looking to see if there's anything there where it was talking about the satire aspects, which, I mean, it's still, maybe that's a way to put it. These introductions feel more like they're the satire, but it's just to the point of stupidity. Whereas the story itself didn't seem that satirical to me. I mean, it's, in some ways it could be, as far as the whole trying to produce a commentary on these kinds of fairy tales. But at the same time, though, it felt written with sufficient sincerity that it's not really a satire. It's more like, here's a different version that, yeah, we're changing some of the stuff here, but everything is still recognizable, and it's like, it's another good entry in the same genre versus being a true satire of the genre. That is trying to mock and expose things. It's like, no, you're actually demonstrating it itself. It's far more how it feels to me. But maybe I'm just so familiar with the movie and it being in there, that being an example of the genre, that I can't really see it as a satire. That's entirely possible. But yeah, I don't know. It's a lousy introduction. It's really lousy. It doesn't make me really want to continue. But I will. It just, yeah. So, I guess I will just have to add this, because as I said in the previous one, skip 30th anniversary introduction, skip 25th anniversary introduction, just go to the story introduction and read from there. Maybe also skip this introduction. I'm hoping that that's all more I need to say. But this is for a different reason. Those two were, well, yes, they do drain. I did find them to drain energy from reading, but also they can spoil a little bit. This, I would say, skip because it's just boring. It's just nonsensical. Hopefully, I will be able to say, but still read Buttercup's Wave. If it turns out I can't even say that, I don't know. We'll find out. See you next time.